Vishnu is perhaps one of the most popular gods in Hinduism. He is your usual cool god resting in the coils of the serpent king Seshnag on the Shirsagar or the ocean of milk. But what makes him unique is his tendency to become mortal again and again. Lord Vishnu, the god of preservation and light, has taken many avatars or incarnations on earth. But why? According to various Hindu texts, as the god of preservation, it is Vishnu's duty to maintain the balance between order and chaos. But he is not able to do that because it's his imagination that makes it possible for us to exist. So, if we won't rest on the ocean, then we would no longer exist. That's right, Vishnu works even when he sleeps. Then, if he is sleeping, then how can he fight evil? Like your typical god, he occasionally lets a part of his soul to reincarnate in the mortal realm. That's very convenient. So, his avatars like Ram or Vaman are just a part of his soul, not he himself. Today, we are gonna talk about the second avatar of Lord Vishnu, Kurma, the ginormous turtle. The story of this avatar goes something like this. The king of the gods Indra is visited by a sage. The sage gives him a garland as a gift. Indra does not accept the gift. Turns out the sage has a temper. He curses all the gods that they will lose their power and prosperity. The gods become upset. They run to Vishnu seeking his help. Vishnu says they have to obtain ambrosia in order to gain immortality and have their powers back. The gods ask him where the ambrosia is, and Lord Vishnu, being the kind god he is, yells, "In the ocean." Long story short, they need to churn the ocean of milk, but it's an ocean, right? And they don't have their powers, which is a sucker for them. So they need help, and they call, wait, why I'm spoiling the fun? Let's start, because Indra is really annoyed and the weather here on earth isn't really fine when he is upset. Kurma avatar is the second avatar of Lord Vishnu. He represents the change of habitation of Paleozoic creatures from water to land. Lord Kurma has a lower body of a turtle and a human-like upper body. He is usually depicted with four arms, one holding the conch shell, one holding the Sudarshan Chakra, one in the pose of conferring a boon Varada Mudra, and one in protection affording pose Abhay Mudra. According to the canons of the scriptures, the half-man should be shown as wearing all the ornaments usually associated with Vishnu. So why did Lord Vishnu take this avatar? The god had to incarnate because his fellow gods required him to. This started on a usual day in Vaikunth, the adobe of Vishnu. That god was doing his usual stuff, like imagining the world in his sleep. When suddenly the gods arrived at the outermost gates of his adobe, and yes, I say outermost because Vaikunth has 108 gates. The king of the gods, Indra, who is also the god of rain and thunder, was leading the disgruntled gods. Accompanying them was Lord Brahma himself, the god of creation and knowledge. Narad, the divine messenger of the gods, was also there. Vishnu, although knowing, still asked the gods what had happened. Of course, he did not open his eyes, or the world would have ended, thanks to Lord Vishnu. Brahma explained him exactly what had happened, as Indra had too big an ego to repeat what he had done again and again. Apparently, a renowned sage called Durvasa had arrived at Mount Meru, seeking an audience with Indra and the gods. But Indra decided he was cozy in his throne at the palace of the gods, and rather than receiving the sage at the gates, he summoned him into his throne room, which really is not good manners. You should always receive the occasional sage who drops at your gate, especially this one. Durvasa wasn't only known because he was pious and wise. He was also famous for having a temper. Not like I am upset and I won't talk to you angry. It's more like I am upset, therefore I shall curse you angry. Although he is an exceptional warrior, Indra isn't really known for being wise. When Indra summoned Durvasa to him, he was enraged. But he was wise enough not to curse the gods, because if he cursed the gods, who would run the universe? So he bit his ego and went to the palace. There he was greeted by Indra and the gods. He put out his most polite gesture and presented Indra a garland as a gift. Indra wasn't really in the mood for gifts, but he was intelligent enough to not directly reject the sage's gift. After the sage left, he gave the garland to his pet and means of transport, Airavat, the king of elephants. That's right, gods are neither dog people nor cat people, they are elephant people. But king or not, he is an elephant, and elephants tend to stamp upon things and people they don't like. Somehow, Durvasa got to know that his gift had become a stamping toy for Indra's elephant, and he was not really happy. He was not only not happy, he was really angry. His patience had been tested. It was time for some real action. He cursed the gods they will lose all the things they had so much pride upon. Their prosperity, their wealth, their kingdom and their immortality. Suddenly everything was dark. They had been enjoying their life, drinking nectar and having fun with their parts. But now, they were stripped of the thing that made them them. The gods begged Durvasa to take back his curse. But now it was too late. A curse given could not be taken back. He asked them to go to Lord Vishnu. Only he could help them regain their wealth and immortality. But somehow the sage Narad, the messenger of the gods, got to know about this. And the thing that you ought to know about Narad is that he's got a big mouth. He informed every celestial being in the universe about what had happened, even though they would have figured it out themselves, and then tagged along with the gods to Indra and his subjects to rub their nose in it. Now they were at Vaikunt, seeking Vishnu's help. Indra asked him how could they regain their powers back. Would they need to perform a sacrifice, or would they require to go on some pilgrimage of the greater gods? That's right, there are higher gods in Hinduism, like Vishnu himself. But Vishnu shook his head. No sacrifice could reverse the gods' destiny. The gods exclaimed, "Then what?" I imagine Vishnu would have been like, "Oh, nothing. You just have to churn the ocean of milk." The gods were shocked. Vishnu explained that the only way they could become immortal and powerful again was by gaining the elixir of life. The elixir was dissolved in the Kshirsagar, the very same ocean that Lord Vishnu rested on. They would have to churn the entire ocean in order to gain enough elixir for themselves. But that was not the problem. When they had their powers, it would not have been so difficult. But now, they needed help. They asked Vishnu how they can churn an ocean so big. The supreme god told them to use Mount Meru as a churning stick and the great snake king Vasuki as the churning rope. But the gods were still in trouble. They could not churn the entire ocean by themselves since they were too weak to yield their own celestial weapons. The god Vishnu asked them to approach the Asurs for help. That's when the things got messy. Asurs were to a race of celestial beings, just like the gods. In fact, they were actually half-brothers. The twin wives of the sage Kashyap, Diti and Aditi, had borne the Asurs and the gods respectively. Things were fine until it was decided who would govern the earth and rule the heavens. Both the Asurs and the gods wanted the heavens, and finally the gods won. But the Asurs didn't think it was fair, and this resulted in a feud between the brothers. The Asurs would have attacked the gods, but they had now become more powerful. But after Durvasa's curse, the Asurs had the upper hand, and they were one of the main reasons the gods wanted their immortality back. But Indra and the gods were forced to swallow their egos and approach the realm of Asurs. The leader and the teacher of Asurs, Shukracharya, was reluctant at first as he thought it was a trick, but later agreed because he was promised that he and his subjects would get half of everything that came out of the ocean. And that's how the gods ended collaborating with their worst enemies. Thanks for watching. If you thought that this video was informative, then share it to as many people as possible. If you want to stick around for more such videos, then don't forget to subscribe our channel down below. And if you appreciate our effort, then click the like button.